This was me at the beginning of my journey. A fat geek trying to get in shape, and well, this is me now, still a geek, but finally cracked it. After almost 2 years of trying and constantly failing for a year, I finally cracked how you can use video game mechanics to overcome procrastination, build self-esteem, and just get things done. And Today I'm not only telling you the theory behind it, no, I'm also proving to you that it works by showing you my struggle journey from failing to success and give you methods as well as tools to implement the success for yourself. Now, I know you really want me to tell you what to do immediately, and you can skip it, but hear me out. Before we go into the concept, it is essential that we take a look at the origin story, because if you don't understand why you are struggling, then no matter what I tell you what to do, it will never have a long-lasting impact. How do I know? Because that is the reason why I failed for a year. You see, when I uploaded my first video end of 2020 with the title Getting Fit with Video Games, I really thought this will be an easy venture. I mean, trying using video game mechanics to make chores more fun is not really new. The concept is called gamification and has been around since 2010. Wikipedia defines gamification as strategic attempts to enhance systems, services, organization, and activities by creating similar experiences to those experienced when playing in games in order to motivate and engage users. In my naive mind, I just thought all I need to do is to find the right game, the one that is fun and also has a lot of sports elements in it, and progress will be guaranteed. Yeah, I was that naive. But it doesn't work like that. I did try though. I really tried. Just have a look at my first videos. You can see me training with the VR, playing games like Blade Saber or boxing, and in the beginning I always have been highly motivated, but it never lasted. Although you could see progress, I eventually got bored of it. And once I got bored, I was looking for the next new shiny thing. So after VR, I tried fitness apps like Ring Fit, and after Ring Fit, I started running. Every time I got excited, started highly motivated. In some cases, I achieved quite nice results, like in September last year, when I managed to run 5 kilometers in 30 minutes compared to 50 minutes when I started in February. Actually quite an achievement, and really was proud of that. And you could ask me now, am I still running? Well, here's the honest, bitter truth. No, I'm not running anymore. I haven't been running since the end of last year. And does this sound somehow familiar to you? If yes, do me the favor, pause the video, let me know in the comments. It took me months of reading self-development books to finally understand how to come up with a system that really works. And since I'm a gamer and a geek, and you can see that behind me, and not a sports guy at all, somehow it's just natural that I create a system that highly relates to video games. And I did it. There was only one thing left for me to do: test it on myself. Why snowboarding? Simple. Because I needed something sports related that I wanted to master, but it's really hard, especially since I am already over 40 years old, to prove that my system works. So how does my system work? Well, one of the major things of video games is that you have always a clear objective what to do, paired with a story that lets you wonder what comes next. The game normally does not tell you the end goal at the beginning. No, every objective you complete gets you a step closer to your end goal. Let's take Halo 1 for example. The end goal of the game is to save the universe from destruction. But you are not bothered with that until you are very far into the game, although every step you take leads you into this direction. Your first task is to escape the UNSC Pillar of Autumn, which is boarded by the enemy, the Covenant, with the ship's AI named Cortana to avoid sensitive information like the location of Earth falling into enemy hands. Once you achieve this task, the game then asks you to find other survivors from the ship, which then leads you meeting the Staff Sergeant Avery Johnson, who tasked you with saving the captain of the Pillar of Autumn. And while you progress through the story, the game teaches you how to play the game. You may now ask, what does playing through a good story actually has to do with achieving my goals? Well, just imagine the game starts with the end goal first. So instead of getting the task to escape the ship at the beginning, the captain hands you a weapon, tells you that you need to save the universe from destruction, and actually only have 7 days to do that. That sounds ridiculous, right? What do you do? Where do you even start? But funny enough, in real life, that is exactly how we start our journeys. I want to run a marathon in 6 months. And then we wonder why people are struggling to even start or give up just after a short time of trying. So what is the solution? Well, you have to create and follow your own story arc. Find out what steps you need to take in order to achieve the desired outcome. In my case, the end goal is to shred like Ryan Neptune. And to achieve that, my journey looks like following. First, learn to ride a snowboard because I'm a beginner. Then learn to carve. Next, be able to ride switch, and so on and so on and so on. Every time I hit one of those sub goals, I get a sense of accomplishment, which my brain rewards me with dopamine and motivates me to continue on. Now, I will go in a lot more detail and also provide you tips and tricks on how to find and define these sub goals in upcoming videos. So if you want to know more, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button. Okay, you created your own story arc, so from now on you always know what exactly to do next. But how do we make sure that you don't lose motivation and stop? After all, studies show that less than 1 in 10 people are able to stick to their resolutions for more than 1 year. In fact, when you look at New Year's resolution, 25% of people are giving up on the first week of making them, within the first week. So why is that? Why do we give up so easily? The hard truth I had to learn is that it's not about the goals we set, it's about the system we create. Or like James Clear states in his book Atomic Habits, winners and losers have the same goal. And if you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. The problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. This book was an eye-opener for me, and I highly recommend reading this book if you're interested in that topic. But let me explain this concept on my running example. My goal had been to run faster than 7 minutes per kilometer on an average 5-kilometer run. I started with an average of almost 10 minutes per kilometer. On 29th of August, I then achieved that goal, but because I did not create a habit or a system that pushes me to run every day and only focused on that goal, once I reached that goal, I somehow stopped. Not intentionally, and not at once, but gradually, since I was lacking the motivation of that goal. So instead of goals, create habits. Habits like read every day, doesn't matter how much. Play an instrument every day, doesn't matter how long. Run every day, doesn't matter how much or how long. Now, there's a lot more to it in order to successfully build habits, like creating mini habits you can't fail, or identifying keystone habits, or stacking habits for starters. Those in more detail in upcoming videos. So again, if you want to know more about creating habits, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell and the like button. In real life, everything we strive for has a certain risk to it. Risk of injury or even death by doing sports. Risk of bankruptcy by striving for wealth. Risk of rejection by trying to find a partner. But in video games, there is no risk. You die, you respawn. You choose a wrong profession, a wrong class, you just respect your character, try another one. Even in the most hardcore games where you lose your character, for example like in Diablo hardcore mode, all you essentially lose is time. There is no risk to it. In essence, you can harness all the fun without any risk, and since failure has no real negative impact, you can try again and again and again until you master the game. Now, how do we transform that into real life? Let me give you an example how I did it. Snowboarding has a high risk of injury. I'm over 40 years old, I have family to support, I really cannot afford to get badly injured. Lucky for me, some smart people invented training tools like the jibbing board that allows me to safely train tricks, or the tramp board where I can train air awareness without the risk of me getting badly hurt if I fail. So this is the essence of this third step. Create a safe environment where failure does not matter, so you can constantly try again and again. One quite interesting fact though that hinders us in this training is that very often we lose sight of not only what we want to achieve but also what we already have achieved. Now, games actually have that perfectly mastered, which brings us to our fourth step in our system. Games visualize every improvement you do by, for example, giving you a bar that fills up every time you progress in the game. But that's only half of the story. The genius part are the levels. So instead of having a progress bar from 0 to 100 mastery, where you could barely see your progress and be demotivated quite quickly, levels allow the separation of exact the same journey into smaller chunks. And now when you see that you are already at 80% towards level 24, that gives you enough motivation to continue grinding to the next level. And then the next, and the next, and the next. In real life, however, progress is not that obvious to see, and building something that lasts takes a lot longer than in a video game. We still, however, can adapt the concept from video games by visualizing progress ourselves. You reached one of your sub-goals, write it down, mark it in your calendar. But not only do you visualize your sub-goals, you do the same thing for your daily habits. You went for a run, write it down. You studied for an hour, write it down. You meditated for 10 minutes, write it down. The point is to make your progress, or even the lack of it, clearly visible to yourself, getting the extra boost to stick with your habits and get to the next sub-goal of your journey. The fifth and final step is the most important one. It's all about rewards. Everything you did in the 4 steps before has to be done to be able to build a good reward system. If you fail here, everything you did before will be in vain. Sadly, that's also the reason why 90% of the gamification tools and apps are failing, because they did not understand the underlying effect of in-game rewards. You see, it is all about dopamine again. Every time you do something that from an evolutionary standpoint increases the likelihood of your survival, the brain releases dopamine to make you feel good. Have a good meal? Dopamine. Have sex? Dopamine. Enforcing that you do everything for the survival of yourself and humankind. Games have massively tapped into the dopamine hit by giving us rewards for completing tasks and objectives. The most interesting part is that those rewards come in very different shapes and sizes, pushing very different evolutionary triggers. There is the reward in form of an item or a skill that makes you stronger. Being stronger allows you to either need less effort to complete the same task or allows you to reach for a bigger target. Both scenarios are highly desirable from an evolutionary standpoint. So once you get this reward, you are flooded with dopamine. So much that your body wants to have this again, and most of the time the anticipation of getting this reward already gets you a dopamine hit. So you power through the task, you get stronger, now the game presents you with a new opponent and a new reward. an endless cycle of dopamine. Another way how rewards work is novelty. Novelty comes in different forms, and good games always provide us with something new. Be it the new shiny object, or a new area, or even new challenges or monsters. Our brain loves novelty and hits us with dopamine. Just go and repeat a level over and over again without there being a sub-reward like farming XP or something. It gets boring so fast, you can't even keep up. The third system games exploit are admiration rewards. I can still remember the joy of displaying my World of Warcraft Tier 2 armor from Molten Core in Orgrimmar. Just think about that. This is now almost 20 years ago and I can still remember that feeling. It's incredible. It just shows you how strong that reward is or was. Which makes sense because being admired is the ultimate evolutional jackpot and your brain treats it that way. Okay, so now that you know how rewards work in games, how do you build your own reward system? First of all, reward yourself with something that helps you achieve your task faster or better. If you're into running, reward yourself with some new shoes or maybe something smaller like a massage to loosen up your muscles. Just make sure whatever reward you choose that they correlate with your goal and make you better so that your brain hits you with dopamine. You can even kill two birds with one stone if you choose something that not only makes you better but also has novelty to it, like the new running shoes. But it does not have to be material. You can reward yourself with a different location, run somewhere else, different people, run with different people. Find playful ways to reach your goal. They neither have to be massive nor permanent, just enough to spice up the game once in a while. And be aware, everyone is different. Find out what novelty triggers you the most. And if you're already talking about rewards, how about you liking this video and share it with your friends, so not only as a reward for me but also to help other people as well and spread the video. Okay, so let's sum it up. Let's sum up the system and then go into more detail. First, take your goal, break it down into a journey of smaller tangible sub-goals. Second, take a look at your sub-goals, identify habits that help you achieve these sub-goals. Third, build a safe space where you can fail with harmless risks in order to continue to improve. Fourth, make sure you document every completion of your sub-goals as well as your daily activities. And finally, the fifth, implement a reward system where the rewards makes you either stronger in the topic you want to achieve or creates novelty. If you want to see how I apply these 5 steps to sports, go watch this video. If you rather want to learn more about habits, go watch this video.